What's happening, YouTube? Phil's Fish 101 here. Today we're going to talk about the history of the lure, history of spoons and spinners. Um, Keep in mind, if there's anything else you guys would like to learn about, mention in the comments. I'll look into it and I'll be sure to go over that. Alright, let's get started. So, first we're going to start off on the history of the lure. There are two men in history to whom we owe an enormous debt of gratitude to. The first was an adventurous soul who discovered that oysters were in fact edible, thereby proving that uncommon vision in the face of convention was acceptable, even an admirable human quality. And the second was a pioneer with enough imagination and faith to catch a fish on an artificial lure. In a world where everyone used fake bait to take fish with annoying regularity, one solitary figure had the courage, conviction, and patience to finally hook a fish on a painted stick of wood. Man was an angler pretty much long before his, activities were first scratched on the walls of history. Many of his cultures were built upon catching fish, usually by unsportsmanlike means. He prospered and multiplied anyway. Early man's existence was governed by eating, catching fish or game, and sex, though not necessarily in that order. It's not hard to imagine that a long day ago, when some primitive, his larger filled with fish and appetites forgotten, decided to go fishing just for fun, putting away his nets, clubs, whatever else they used, he lavishly fashioned a small spear. Satisfied with the implement, he waded into a shallow pool and attempted to meet a fish on that more or less equal footing. Mankind has never quite recovered from that experience. It isn't difficult to carry an imagination a step further. Now, around the campfire, guttural arguments raged over the, relative merits of the bamboo spear and ultralight willow lance. The nights were punctuated by animated accounts of grand specimens that were struck but managed to escape with great courage and incredible strength. Two tousled leads, heads nodding in assent, each angler having shared the experience at one time or another. A few of the tales that have been embellished in the telling to clarify particularly important point, but were most quite accurate. Anglers were often, as today, mostly virtuous and honest men. Somewhere along the evolutionary footpath, man finally surpassed the fish in intelligence, thus setting the stage a momentous breakthrough. One auspicious day, the notion occurred to someone that fish had to eat too. Okay? The fish hook and bait fishing would soon follow. That's pretty much the history of the lure, I would say, how people really got into it. However, the development did work slightly differently. To be honest, in reality, the artificial lure was born nearly 19 centuries ago in the form of, I think, an angling fly. That's where pretty much it all started. The exact origin of the fly is obscured by the time. We know that there was generally widespread use of the device by the 2nd century AD in Europe and the Mediterranean. No drawings or accurate descriptions of those flies survive, except for a few references to probably feathers and fabrics tied to a hook. By the mid-1400s, however, the fly was surprisingly developed. I believe it was a British publication form of 1496 included drawings of several patterns that would serve well in today's trout streams. The flies were a successful departure from common bait angling, but the limitations of early tackle and technique confined fly fishing even more severely than common hook and line bait methods of that era. In the purest sense, the first artificial lures were probably wooden jigs used by Eskimos and northern Indians for ice fishing. Relics of these earliest rigs still survive in parts of Alaska and Canada, where their use was described in several accounts in the gold rush days. Those rustic lures didn't include any of the attraction elements we normally associate with the useful lure. They were employed during the sparse winter months on northern ice where the fish would strike at almost anything, edible or not. The first record of an artificial that actually incorporated effective attraction elements was recorded in the journals of explorer Captain James Cook. He invaded Hawaii way back in 1700s, late 1700s. However, during his 1770 expedition to Hawaii, Cook found the natives using a trolling spoon fashioned from natural mother of pearl. The seashell had the curve necessary to impart action in the iridescent material on the inside of the shell, provided an attractant to the fish. According to the accounts, the spoon apparently worked very well. The modern metal spoon appeared shortly afterward in both England and North America, undoubtedly developed independently of the Polynesian pearl spoon. Several records indicate that it was used extensively with pike and muskies in the northern lakes and rivers, used by the United States and Canada by the year 1801. However, I'm sure some of you who really look into it know who Julio T. Buell is. Well, in 1846, a polished and very effective spoon was being commercially produced in Whitehall, New York, by Julio T. Buell. Buell is generally credited with inventing the modern spoon blade, complete with proper curves to the effect of a wobbling action. Buell's design is virtually unchanged today, and is still a deadly lure. In several forms, it can be found in almost every phase of modern fishing. Anglers of the Civil War period in America discovered that the spoon could be combined with bait and in some areas to improve the catch rate. The added weight of the nightcrawler or pork rind adversely affected the action, though in around 1865 a tinkerer named William T. J. Lowe achieved angling immortality by inventing the spinner. Lowe's discovery was far more than a mere modification of Buell's spoon. The spinner, on which the blade could not rapidly rotate about a fixed shaft, was designed to attract fish, but not to elicit the strike. That important function was assigned to the bait which followed. Buell's spoon, which was directly struck by the fish. Lowe's attractor spinner was a complement of natural bait. They were first halting steps towards the development of the modern arsenal of lures. The lake troll, flasher, string, dodger, buzzer bait, and several generations of bladed spinning lures owe their creation to the principles set forth by those two American experimenters. I'm sure more so inventors, but I guess experimenters pretty much would match them as well. Now that's all I have for today, based off of the invention of the, not just the invention, but the history of the wooden spoon, the spinner, and the history of the lure. Now, everything started from prehistoric days, far back in time. What you have to keep in mind is it all started based off of creativity. Okay? Just, if you're going to make your own lure or any other fishing trick that you're going to use for a lure, keep in mind it can be anything you ever want. I mean, if you've never been fishing before and you looked at someone's tackle box, you would say those are the weirdest looking things you could ever see. However, they work. And they're pretty popular. I think that's all I got for you guys today. However, like, subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. Leave your comments in the video. I'm very eager to hear what you'd like to say. Good or bad, I'll take both. Better than nothing. And that's about it. Alright, see you guys later.